All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to talk about something that every single Java programmer has to master: how to keep your code from turning into a total mess, and how to use all the awesome pre-built tools Java just gives you for free. We're going to turn that code chaos into a clean, organized community. Let's get to it. So, picture this. You're past the Hello World stage. Your BTech project suddenly has like a dozen different classes, and they're all just sitting in one big folder. All of a sudden, you're scrolling and scrolling, trying to find that one file. It's a mess, right? Sound familiar? Well, this is that moment where you stop just writing code and start architecting it. You can think of your project right now as a brand new little town where there are no roads, no street signs, no addresses. People are just building houses wherever they feel like it. It's absolute chaos. Our first job, we've got to bring some order to this whole situation.
See, when all your classes are just crammed into that default package, it's like trying to have a conversation in a massive, crowded room where half the people have the same name. It gets confusing fast. In Java, this means you can't have two public classes with the same name. Finding anything is a pain, and forget about trying to reuse a piece of code later. It's a nightmare.
So, how do we fix this disaster? Well, we start building neighborhoods. We start creating organized communities for our code. And in the world of Java, we call these neighborhoods packages. They give our code structure, a place to belong, and a way to keep related things together. At its heart, a package is really just a container. It's a way of grouping your code. You know, you'd put all your user interface code in one place and all your database logic in another. This grouping, which we call a namespace, is what makes it possible to have a class called user in your data package and a totally different class, also called user, in your UI package, with no confusion.
And creating one is actually pretty simple. It's just a three-step process. First, you declare it using the package keyword. And listen, this has to be the very first line of code in your file. No exceptions. Second, you give it a unique name. The standard way is to use a reverse domain name, like com.yourproject.utils. And third, and this is super important, you have to save that file in a folder structure that exactly matches the package name.
And this is the part that often trips people up. That line of code you wrote, package.com.myproject.ui, isn't just a label. It's a rule. It tells the Java compiler that it must find this file inside a folder named UI, which itself is inside a folder named myproject, which is inside a folder named com. The code and the folder structure have to match perfectly.
Okay, so now we have all these nice, neat neighborhoods, but how do they talk to each other? You can't just have them shouting across the city. We need some rules, some clear guidelines for how a class in one package can use a class from a totally different one.
And that's exactly what the import statement is for. Think of it like an address book for your code. If you need to use a class from another package, you just import it. You can be specific and import a single class. That's like inviting just one friend over. Or you can use the little wildcard asterisk to import all the public classes from a package, which is kind of like sending an open invitation to the entire neighborhood.
Now this is basically the privacy settings for your code community. Let's break it down. Think of private as a secret inside your own house. Nobody outside that class can see it. If you don't specify anything that's default, then your neighbors in the same package can see it. Protected is like for your extended family. Your own package can see it, and so can subclasses, even if they live in another neighborhood. And public? That's a block party. Anybody, from any package, anywhere, can come and use it. Okay, so we know how to organize our own code. Now let's talk about the massive, pre-built city that Java already gives us. We're going to focus on one of its most useful departments, the java.util package. Think of this as the city's public works department, full of all the tools you could ever need. Seriously, this is a huge piece of advice for any programmer. Don't reinvent the wheel. Before you spend hours writing some complex code to handle dates or lists or random numbers, just check if Java has already done it for you. And, spoiler alert, it probably has, and it's probably in the java.util package. Now, here's a neat little piece of theory for you. In computer science, we say java.util is weakly cohesive. All that means is that its contents aren't all strictly related to one thing. You've got date classes, data structures, text scanners. It's a real mixed bag. But honestly, it's better to think of it like a Swiss Army knife. It's not one single tool, it's a whole collection of different, super useful tools all packed into one convenient place. All right, let's look at a few of these tools. First up, a classic, the scanner class. If you've ever written a program for a college assignment that asks the user to, enter your name or enter a number, you have definitely used this. It's the absolute standard for reading input from the console and making your programs interactive. Next, we have the string Tokeniser. This one's a bit of an old-timer. It's what we call a legacy class, but it's still pretty handy for simple tasks. Its whole job is to take a string, like a sentence, and break it down into smaller pieces, or tokens, based on a delimiter, like a space or a comma. Super useful for parsing simple text data.
Oh, and dealing with time. What a headache that can be. Luckily, we have the date and calendar classes. Anytime your program needs to know what time it is, or calculate the difference between two dates, or handle time zones, these are your go-to tools. They manage everything from simple timestamps to complex scheduling. And what about when you need a little bit of unpredictability? That's where the random class comes in. It's used to generate, random numbers. This is absolutely essential for things like games, think shuffling a deck of cards, or running simulations, or really any application where you need a bit of chance.
So let's bring it all together. We started with total chaos, remember? Just a jumble of files. And now we've built organized neighborhoods. We've set up clear rules for how they interact. And we've even explored the public utilities that are available to everyone. You're not just a builder anymore, you're an architect. So if you only take a few things away from this, let it be these. 1. Packages bring order to chaos. 2. The import statement connects your neighborhoods. 3. Access specifiers create the boundaries and privacy rules. And 4, the utility classes in java.util are your best friends. Use them. Getting these concepts down is what takes you from just writing code to actually engineering a real professional system. You now have the blueprints. You have the fundamental plans for building strong, scalable, and clean Java applications. You know how to lay the foundation and which tools to grab from the toolbox. So the only question left is, what amazing thing are you going to build with it?